Asherah is such a boss babe that in her absence, there's like this power vacuum. Something needs to fill the void that was left. Asherah's life-giving force was quintessential to people on a daily basis. So where do you go when you need to have a child? What do you do when you need to raise your child up with wisdom? Now, Yahweh has huge shoes to fill. He comes from being a tribalistic God to now needing to be this monolithic, all-encompassing God. So there's a huge hole that Asherah leaves. And in my opinion, she never left. But you understand what I'm saying, that now Yahweh has to fill and provide in this space. I'm going to read a portion of a book from A Feminist Companion to the Latter Prophets. And it's about the book of Hosea and how basically Yahweh in the entire book, Hosea, this compilation, it's not just by one author, but this compilation book is purposely, number one, just banging on, nagging about Asherah without necessarily saying her name, but also now trying to describe Yahweh as this life giver, life sustainer, you can get your progeny from him, etc. Because again, all those spaces that Asherah filled, now Yahweh has to fill. Okay, let's just read this. And, I guess I should tell you why I'm reading you this is because not only is Asherah in the Bible, they say she's in there like 40 times. She's in there so much more, but it's because in many times she's just being implied, like the Garden of Eden story. It's literally about Asherah. It doesn't have to necessarily say her name. Say her name. Okay. So Asherah is in the book of Hosea, but remember how I was telling you that Semitic peoples love wordplay, and there's a lot of homophones, homonymity that's happening, and we don't know because we don't speak Hebrew. And I know that I do a terrible job at my pronunciation, and I apologize. But just listen to this. This is super cool. Asherah's in the Bible. We don't know. She's been hidden, but we're going to make her revealed. She will rise like a phoenix. Yahweh as a tree goddess. In the closing chapter of the book of Hosea 14:5-9, Yahweh is compared to a greening tree, a cypress, whose fruit benefits Ephraim, Israel. That the divine tree is described as a cypress has a stylistic basis because are chiastically related and further create a chiastic echo with each other. So I'm going to read to you what it says in English first. O Ephraim, what have I to do with idols? It is I who answer you and look after you. I am like an evergreen cypress. From me comes your fruit. I apologize if this is confusing. I'm quickly going to bounce back to Hosea 4 verses 12 because there's just more, if you only knew. There's more wordplay happening. Okay, so Hosea 4:12, the Elah, the terebinth goddess. The most notable and clearest evidence of a goddess in the form of wordplay appears in Hosea 4:12-13. For a spirit of harlotry leads astray, and they are whoring from under their God. On tops of the mountains they offer, and on the hills they burn incense, under oak, poplar, and terebinth, for good is her shade. Now let's go back to Hosea 14. The shadow motif already encountered in Hosea 4:12 that I just read returns in 14:8. The meaning of shadow is hardly exhausted, with a purely functional explanation as giver of coolness. Rather, the shadow appears to be another indication of a divine presence, as does the tree itself. With all due caution, by means of comparison, the symbol of the goddess is identified with the God of Israel. Yahweh assumes characteristics of the tree goddess, her numinous presence as suggested by the shadow motif, and especially the nourishing aspect of her fruit. Incidentally, Ephraim Israel appears in the paradisical picture that Hosea 14:5-9 paints as the lily webbed with God's dew, as the grapevine, the wine itself, which fogs understanding and promotes the misdirected cult, is transformed. The lily, dew, the grapevine, these are all synonymous with Asherah. Lily iconography associated with Asherah. Dew is fertility. Actually, dew could also be associated with Baal's dew, because it also symbolized fertility of like the crop, land, herd, like the grapevine, the wine itself. Now everything that was associated with Asherah is going under the umbrella. They're now attributes of Yahweh. Okay, now if you thought that was fun, we're going to get to the really fun part, because now we're going to get to the homology. We're going to get to the stuff that we wouldn't hear unless we pronounced it in Hebrew. Back to Hosea 4. The name of the tree is a homonym with the feminine form of El, God, that is Elah or Elat, goddess. Even if the word Elah never appears in the Hebrew Bible in the sense of the goddess, it cannot be completely denied that the text, with its love for sound play, makes the use of this homonymity. Hosea 14:9 gets very interesting. I'm going to read it in English and then tell you the homonymity, that you would only know if you listened in Hebrew. As Ephraim will say, "What have I to do any more with idols?" And I answer and affirm him, "I am like a fresh green cypress tree. Your fruitfulness comes from me." The best-known critical conjuncture in the book of Hosea is certainly the one Julius Wellhausen introduced concerning Hosea 14 verses 9, a conjecture which since has been frequently adopted. Wellhausen sought to improve the traditional reading of the Masoretic text, "It is I who answer and look after you," through some slight modifications, and thereby reconstituted, "I am his Anat and his Asherah." Not one, but two goddesses appear in the book of Hosea. So Hosea 14:9, "It is I who answer and look after you." If you listen to it, I'm going to fuck it up, but it sounds something like Anati wa Asherenu. Anati Asherenu could be mistaken for as Anato wa Asherato. I am his Anat and his Asherah. So Hosea could completely just be engaging in wordplay, or because these books are just compilation, this book is a compilation, there's been heavy redaction and sanitization of the text. It could either just be wordplay, and you would just hear that Anat and Asherah is who's meant, that, Yahweh is now taking the place of Asherah and Anat. Or it could have been that those two goddesses were specifically referenced in the text. But yeah, then of course just completely changed because, can't say the name. Oh God, my time's almost up. What do y'all think? Did I make any sense? Do you have any questions? Free Palestine. Love you. Bye.